Pay close attention. This isn't something you see every day.
Welcome back to another video, and today I want to talk about the Jada Toys Scooby-Doo line. And here I have Shaggy Rogers right here. Been waiting for this figure to come out. With this line, I'm only going to get Shaggy and Scooby because those were always my two favorite from the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. But oh my, what Jada has brought to the table again is absolutely phenomenal. Here is Shaggy Rogers in the box. I love the way they did the little spooky clouds going through, make it a little spooky like. And then of course you got good old scared Shaggy here on the side. And then there's some promotional pictures of the figure right here with the moon and the bats and the clouds. And that's actually really nice. And then you have the whole mystery mobile with the whole crew right here in it, which is nice. And then of course you got Shaggy on the other side. On the bottom we have Warner Brothers logo, Jada, and then everybody who's involved with creating this figure. So with that being said, let's get Shaggy out of the box. Let's take a look at him and let's talk about it. So really quick, now that I've taken Shaggy out of the box, I just want to show the background inside of the actual box itself. And that's why you have the creepy clouds going through, because of the spooky house from Stephen King's It in the background. I mean, all the way on the inside there, you can see all the way around to the sides, to the bottom, everything. I mean, that's cool that they actually added that little backdrop in there. It's built into the box, so just like any other figure that Jada makes, they always have the cool backgrounds inside the box. I mean, if you're an inbox collector or not, either way, they go all out when it comes to these things. Now, with that being said, let's look at Shaggy himself. And I mean, I gotta say something, man. I have my collection, and I've seen a lot of figures in my lifetime, but not one that can cross his arms so easily as Shaggy can. And I put his alternate hands on him already. Not the gripping ones that he comes with, but the ones that are kind of open, or where he's kind of creeping along, or whatever the case is. Just to show the fact that he can actually cross his arms is actually phenomenal. We have a lot of figures out there that can't even do that. Can't even get close. We got Spider-Man figures out there that can't even do that. But anyway, I digress. This figure here, what Jada has brought to the table, they have literally taken Hanna-Barbera's Scooby-Doo figures. Characters, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say figures. Characters. Made them into figures. And oh my lord. Just like Chester Cheetah, just like Tony the Tiger, that I have reviewed on this channel. Here we have Shaggy, and I mean, straight from the cartoon. You're not getting any better than this. I mean, look at that. That head sculpt is phenomenal. And I mean, this is just nostalgic. If you're a Scooby-Doo fan like I am, and like I said, because Shaggy and Scooby were always my favorite two out of the whole bunch, I mean, that's just great. The whole head sculpt here, with the fact that he has the wide-eyed look, the little smirk on his face, his little chin hair here, his little tiny hair sticking up here, which is soft plastic. Just beautiful. Nicely done. Do I think they could have done a little bit of a wash in his hair? Sure, they could have. Either that, or it's not really coming through on camera. When I look at it off camera, it's just a solid look. I don't really see too much, but that doesn't break the bank for me. I mean, it is what it is. Now coming down to his green shirt, I mean, just nostalgic. And then a nice little slit on the sides, like he would back in the day. And look under here. He actually has skin tone. He actually has skin tone right here. It's not just one big giant, piece of green plastic. Like, this is painted here, but you actually can see his belly underneath when you lift this up. So that's actually pretty cool. I know why they did the slit, so you can get yourself some really good articulation when it comes to the figure when you're moving him around. I have to say, as far as him looking up, he can look up pretty good. Looking down, oh yeah. And he's got the really long, cartoon drawn neck, which yeah, I can't. This is just great. His open hands, double jointed elbows, pinless, his hands coming down to his pants, his bell-bottom pants. And here's something. They made his legs curve out the way they did in the cartoon. So that's not a warped look. That's the way Shaggy's legs were actually in the cartoon. Then you have his boots. But that's phenomenal. And I mean, the guy moves. Like, you can move him like nobody's business, right? So you want to, I'm going to try to attempt this. You want to put him in a pose. Look, across the chest. You can get his arm. His legs coming up, right? You can get his legs up. Bend his knees. Okay. You wanna you wanna get him in that swinging Spider-Man pose, which I know he's not Spider-Man, but still the fact that Shaggy can can do this is absolutely hilarious in my eyes, because most Spider-Man figures can't even do this, right? I mean, granted, it's not the greatest because he's not meant for that. Maybe wrong choice of words to use is a Spider-Man pose because of his shirt, but he does have his articulation, which allows him to move a lot better than most. I mean, look at this. If you wanted him to be doing some kind of kung fu type style, you could have him kicking his leg up. So that's pretty cool. His run, right? You want him running like he did in the cartoon, like he's running away or running towards something. You can have this goofy run like this right here, and that's pretty much basically what he's, you're gonna get him to do is that he's running in these crazy poses. But still, even so, kneeling down, this is crazy. You can get him kneeling down. Hold on, I'm trying here. You all know how I suck at doing this, but let's see if I can get this down. You can have him. I was gonna go for that superhero type pose. Boom! You can get him doing it. There he is. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's just crazy. The articulation they managed to do with this figure, and the fact that his what do you call it? He's just lanky. He's just lanky. Splits. You can do the splits. Yeah, just a whole bunch of cool things you can do with this figure, which is phenomenal. So if you pick this guy up, you're not going to be disappointed. The fact that he's he just poses like crazy. I mean, I'm not the greatest person to be posing on camera, as you guys all well know, but at least I'm attempting. But look at that. Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the crew is going to be, but if they're as good as this guy, I can't wait for Scooby to come out, because Scooby is definitely, if you have Shaggy, you got to have Scooby. You can have him with his hand on his hip, waving goodbye. Let's get this spun around here. Oh, well, am I doing it the wrong way? I think I am. Yeah, you can have him waving, hand on his hip, just hanging out, doing whatever. Anyway, as much as I'd like to keep going with this, I mean, this figure is just absolutely phenomenal. He's just, you're gonna love messing around with this figure, posing him, doing stuff with the, getting him on your shelf and having him do other things as far as just wacky character type posing. And Jada has outdone themselves again with this line. So yeah, with that being said, let's take a look at some of these other accessories that he comes with. Okay, so here you have him with a box of Scooby Snacks, and he's got the Scooby Snack in his hand, and on the inside there's some more Scooby Snacks in there, and you can actually put the Scooby Snack inside the box. That is cool. The fact that this guy was hanging out with his pet dog and eating his dog biscuits in the cartoon is absolutely hilarious. And also, before I forget, Shaggy was voiced by the late, great Casey Kasem. If you guys don't know who he is, you better go find out, because he also did the voice for Cliff Jumper in the Transformers G1 cartoon and Shaggy. So yeah, he also had a lot of other important things, like the top 40 music on the radio, and he did the Casey Kasem's New Year's Holiday Bash, whatever it's called. But yeah, I mean, thanks to Casey Kasem, we actually had a Shaggy when I was growing up with a memorable voice and the way he was done. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, check that out. You can't get any better than that. And then if you have Scooby, considering the alternate heads that Scooby might come with, yeah, and with that Scooby snack, that's awesome. Forgot to point out the fact that he actually has the gripping hand to hold the box or whatever you want him to hold, and then the two fingers together to hold the Scooby snack or a pencil or whatever else you want him to hold. Silly me for forgetting. Of course, next up we have his open hands that he comes with. Next we have his alternate head, screaming head or scared head. Face sculpt, I should say. But is it, you know, yeah, alternate head, very nicely done. I just think it's cool. So if you get the creeper, you get the mummy, whatever the case is, or just you want to put him in with whatever line, he will fit in actually very, very well. Jada's knocked this out of the park. Here's how Shaggy compares to the Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2 Ken and Storm Arena's Street Fighter Alpha 3 Ken. And you can see they all fit very, very well together. And I wanted to put Shaggy in some kind of scared run because you can, just to show off some more of his wackiness. So now that you've seen some comparisons, let me get Shaggy settled in, and then we will go over the end of this review. All right, so now that we've all seen everything that Shaggy comes with and some of the great details and great articulation that this character can do, that Jada has done for this figure, is just absolutely phenomenal. And for the price point, come on, man. They're just knocking them out of the box right and left. At the end of the day, Jada is giving collectors what they want when it comes to the IPs that they are doing. And they're doing it well, I have to say that. I cannot take that away from Jada whatsoever. I'm not bashing or knocking any other companies. I'm just saying that for the price point, what you're getting here with these figures and the accessories, for $23, you cannot go bad. And then you got your taxes and your tariffs, depending if you ordered online or bought it in the store, however that's done. Either way, it's still cheaper than most Marvel Legends and a lot of other figures out there. And they're putting out great quality stuff. Now, this may not be a line for you, and that's fine. If you don't like Scooby-Doo, you don't like Scooby-Doo, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are a fan like I am of Scooby-Doo, you're going to be happy that you have these figures. It's, you know, depending on if you want to collect a whole line or you just want to get Shaggy and Scooby like myself, that's all well and good. Daphne, Velma, and Freddy, that is, you know, remains to be seen on my point, on my behalf, I should say, because, like I said, Shaggy and Scooby were always my favorite. So, you know, I mean, listen, a lot of people are probably going to get mad at me at this point in time. I loved watching Scooby-Doo. When I reached teenage years and I still would watch Scooby-Doo, I sat back and I would laugh because the adult part of the cartoon that was in there that we missed as kids, same thing with the Flintstones, the stuff that we missed as kids, adults were catching. In my opinion, right? These guys were always on drugs, man. They're always seeing ghosts. You got people dressed up as ghosts, whatever the case is. But Shaggy, he was always smoking weed. Him and Scooby were always munching. They were smashing giant sandwiches down and eating them in one bite. You know, I get it. I get it. It's a family show. Don't get me wrong. But still, when I became a teenager, I was just like, yeah, these guys are always smoking. That's why you got the puffy clouds on the box and stuff like that. It's not a weird fog. That's pot smoke, man. Come on. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But still, it's funny. It's funny on how the brain works, right? As a kid, you see it for its wackiness, and then when you get it as an adult, you can see the perception of what kind of adult humor they were throwing in there for the parents to be entertained while they watch this cartoon with their kids, and that's fine. That's fine. It's not that they actually meant for Shaggy or Scooby to be smoking weed or, you know, the rest of the Mystery Machine Gang dropping acid or something like that. I mean, that's not the case. I'm not saying that it is. So, you know, please don't monetize me or, you know, strike me for saying things like that because I'm just joking around. But the cool thing, the nostalgic thing about this is that he can go with any line that you have, because back in the day when I was a kid, Batman, the Super Friends, tons of different characters had shown up on the Scooby-Doo show. And now you have him. You can have him fighting against other people if you want to, or just hanging out on your shelf. You know what I mean? However you want to do it, that's up to you. But I can't wait till Scooby comes out. That way I can put them both together. That's going to be awesome. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Jada Toys Scooby-Doo Shaggy Rogers. That being said, please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment down below. Always hit that notification bell so you never miss out on anything new. And I'll catch you all on the flippity flip.